So I think I have a bit of a different ethos towards exercise and movement and health and fitness than a lot of people, especially people that work within the fitness industry. I really approach movement with some passion, and I see it as a challenge and something to enjoy, something that adds to my life rather than takes away. And I don't really follow any structure, routine, or have any specific goals or expectations of myself either. I just really love what I do, and exercise has literally, without sounding dramatic, changed my life in so many ways, not just in my job and my career, but also who I am as a person and what I believe about myself as well. So I kind of wanted to talk about my fitness transformation in this video, really go through, I suppose, how I've got to this point, because it's not always been this way, as you guys know, and what my future goals are, but also I just want to help inspire others to feel like it's okay to do you. It's okay to not feel like you need to follow a program, when really all that matters is that you just do what makes you happy and what feels good for you, because at the end of the day, life is just far too short. So if I was to sum up my ethos around training and movement at the moment, it would just be that I really, really enjoy moving my body in any way that I can. And that literally looks so varied. As you guys know, I have the most random training that there is. And although I particularly will do calisthenics more often than not, I just try anything. Like, I'm just willing to give anything a go. And usually I'm rubbish at it, and I'm totally okay with that, because I want to come from a place of challenging myself to try new things, enjoying the present, but also approaching movement from a place of appreciation and love for what my body can do, rather than frustration and hatred of my body, which is definitely where I used to be before I lost weight. Of course, unlocking new skills and making progress is important to me somewhat, but I would definitely say if I start to get too hung up on those things, it takes all the enjoyment out of movement and it starts to become a bit more of a chore. And that's what I see happening over and over and over again. Whereas I just think that movement should be adding so much more to your life rather than taking away or adding frustration. But as I mentioned, it has definitely not always been this way, and it has been a journey, let me tell you, full of ups and downs, and I have learned so much along the way, and I feel like I'm in a really good place now. So if we look back at my fitness journey, I think that will give you a better understanding of how I've arrived at this point, and I hope it will just inspire you to think, you know what, I can do what I want, and really movement should be exciting, it should be fun, and it should be something that I look forward to. Now, I'm guessing a lot of you have probably seen my previous videos, so you'll have a rough idea of my fitness journey and also my weight loss journey as well. But to give you a very, very brief overcap, I really didn't like sports in school, not because I didn't enjoy being active, but it just petrified me. I mean, I still get the feeling when I think about it, but PE really scared me. So that was my experience in school, was just always being nervous around physical activity, and I was overweight even when I was in school, so I was not good at these things, unfortunately, so that just added to it. As I got older and when I left school, I moved to Australia at 18, and when I was there, I continued to gain weight and become probably less and less active. So after around 6 or 7 years of living in Australia, I was pretty much in the same position still. I had gained even more weight. I was probably less active than I was before, and by so many means, I was way more self-conscious and underconfident than I ever had been in my life. And it was around that time that it just clicked, and I decided it was time to lose this weight, and I thought that was going to make me happy. And I've spoken about this in another video, which I will link up here, I think it is. You can go and check it out later on, but talking about the fact that I was always searching for happiness. I've always been on this hunt for what is going to make me happy. And at that time in my life, I just put it down to, if I lose weight, this will make me happy. It's purely the fact that I am overweight and I don't like what I look at when I'm in the mirror, and my clothes don't fit me and I feel uncomfortable. That is making me unhappy. So if I lose the weight, I'll be happy. So of course, when you embark on a weight loss journey, you change your nutrition, and that's going to be the key thing. But I also started to move more as well. And as you guys know, I've mentioned this plenty of times, I just did high intensity interval training. I did not want to leave my apartment. I did not want to be seen, and I'd never even stepped foot in a gym. So the best and only thing I could think of was to just get some fitness DVDs and do those religiously. And I still remember the movements like in the order that they're in, because I just did them day in and day out. And in combination with eating less, I found that I lost weight, and I've made plenty of videos on the weight loss journey. I don't really want to focus on that in this video because that is actually really just a small part of the whole journey. If you do want to know more specifically about how I lost weight or what I did, I'll put a few links down below to some videos that I've made, so you can go and check those out. But in terms of movement, I was doing this high intensity interval training, and I really wish that when I had embarked on a weight loss journey, I had known what my future was going to look like, because I would have filmed and recorded so much more, because I just wish you could see what I was like back then. It's something that plays through my mind all the time when I'm out walking, when I'm in the gym, when I'm doing something, when I put a piece of content up, that I would hate for someone to look at me and assume that I was always like this, that I've always been sporty, that I've always looked the way I looked, that I've always been naturally gifted, because I am literally none of those. And I'm still not super confident or see what other people see when they look at me. It baffles me still. So I just wish I had a way of showing you what I was like. But at the time, I didn't think this would ever become my job. I was purely doing it for me, and social media was really just emerging, so I never filmed anything or put anything out on the internet. I just have nothing really. Like, I have very few clips, and even that was towards the end when I started to see progress and results. But when I started, I didn't even know what a plank was. I didn't know what reps and sets were. I didn't know what certain exercises were. I couldn't run more than 100 meters. I probably couldn't even run more than 50 meters. I had very poor fitness. I remember trying to do mountain climbers, and my body just would not move in that way. I just thought, this is going to be impossible. And then even after months of doing HIIT, when my fitness had improved quite a lot, I went back to England to visit my family, and my brother, who's in the military, said to me, all right, let's do a push-up contest, because I thought I could do push-ups at that point. And he was like, no, you need to keep your arms in. And I just felt like my bones wouldn't even move in that way. I now know that it was just that I wasn't strong enough, but it was so interesting to me to look back. And obviously I only have that in my memory, but I really wish I could share that with you, because I think that is one huge difference between maybe me and other people in this industry who haven't been through that experience, is that I remember being like that. I remember my body not moving the way that it does now. I remember not being able to do a step up on a box, or to be able to pick up a dumbbell, or even to squat properly. It is so crazy to me how much my body has changed. I have such a huge appreciation for what the human body is capable of, but I will come on to that a little bit later as well. So as I just mentioned, my general fitness improved quite significantly in the space of around 8 to 12 months while I was doing that high intensity interval training. But again, this was not down to me planning it or knowing what I was doing. I literally was just following the same DVD over and over again, and my body was starting to adapt. And when I got to the end of that year, I felt confident enough to go out for a jog. So I did go out, and I thought, we'll just see how far I can run. And I ended up doing 5 kilometers, a distance that I had never run in my life. And I wasn't going to break any speed records, but I felt pretty good doing it. And over the next year or year and a half, I actually got to the point where I ran a half marathon distance. Again, I didn't plan it, I didn't train for it, nothing in particular. I just went out for a run, and I thought, you know what, I could keep going. And I just kept running and running and running, and I ended up doing 21.09 kilometers, which is a half marathon. And I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. But again, I didn't follow a program to get there. I didn't have any structured routine. I wasn't striving for any particular goal. And I think that's quite interesting, because I speak to so many people who are just starting out on their weight loss or their fitness journeys now. And it's so easy to get hung up on what program I should be following, how often I should be training, what exercises I should be doing in particular. And although, yes, if your goal is to be a bodybuilder or to be able to get your 1 rep maxes in powerlifting or whatever it is that you want, then yeah, it's probably a good idea to follow a program that's very specific. But in general, for the layman, people like me, it doesn't actually matter. Just getting out and moving and trying to push yourself and challenge yourself a little bit and have fun in the process is so more beneficial than being caught up in following a routine or a program that may not be sustainable for your lifestyle in the future. And I think that's the key thing, is that you have to think of movement as being a part or an addition to your lifestyle. Now, I wouldn't really say that was my thought process at this point in my life. I was more along the lines of, I'm just gonna do HIIT and running because that's what I know. But eventually I got to a point where I set myself that New Year's resolution to be able to do a chin up. And then I started to fall down this huge rabbit hole of calisthenics and bodyweight training. I think this really was the key game changer in my pursuit for happiness and the way I feel about movement now. I would say that after a few years of the HIIT and the running, I really wasn't there because I was constantly still in this pursuit of happiness, and I thought that the weight loss would make me happy, and in reality it didn't, because what it did was it would just brought up a lot of unresolved issues, which I think realistically caused me to gain weight in the first place. And I have spoken about this in a previous video, but it was things like being underconfident, being a bit of a people pleaser, never really feeling like I was good enough, not being confident enough to do what I enjoyed, and not having a huge amount of community around me because I was always moving around to different countries. And that's why I think calisthenics was such a key changer in my life, because as I started to fall down the rabbit hole of calisthenics and learn new things, even though I was rubbish at it, it started to fill those voids and fix those problems. It has brought so much to my life, and that is why I'm so passionate now about just telling you that it's okay to do anything that you want to do as long as it works for you and it makes you feel good. Now, a question I often get asked is, how did you start in calisthenics? What exercises did you do? How did you know what to do? How did you know what equipment to buy? And the truth is I didn't have a clue. And I've spoken about this many times, but I literally just played around. I'd do roly-polies on the floor. I would throw myself against the wall. I would save posts on Instagram and just try and copy them and usually fail. And I didn't really have any expectations of what I was going to achieve because I just didn't know much. Again, ignorance is bliss, and I think I was very ignorant to my progress and how long things were going to take at the time. So I wasn't constantly berating myself, but what I was doing was I was enjoying it. I would put on my music and I would go into a room in my house and just play around, and before I knew it, hours would be gone, and I still do that today. I might go to the gym and take my rings with me, and I'll look at the clock and suddenly 2 or 3 hours have gone, and I don't even realize the time because I'm just having fun. I just truly found a passion for being able to move my body, and the thing about calisthenics is progress is excruciatingly slow. Probably slower than most other forms of training, and it's also very subjective. The progress that you make is so tiny at times that it can be questionable whether you're actually making progress or not. There is something so exciting about being able to hold something for 1 second longer, or being able to pull your body just 1 centimeter further, that I just don't get with other forms of exercise. And that being said, again, I don't solely do calisthenics, but this really was the game changer in my mindset around movement changing, because it just gave me such a love for being able to appreciate the challenge, but also be happy in the present and be okay with doing weird things that no other people were doing. Well, that being said, there are some other people doing it, and the calisthenics community was the other big game changer, because at that point in my life, I felt very lonely. I felt that I didn't have a huge amount of friends or community around me. And as soon as I started getting into calisthenics, you know, you start to make friends, you start to meet other people who are just as crazy as you doing similar things, and they genuinely start to feel like family. You meet one person and then that falls into another, and then you start to make a bit of a community. And although you'll meet people that are stronger than you, or they've been training for a lot longer, or have much more advanced skills, it doesn't matter, because you feel included. You feel like everyone is driven for the same purpose. They just want to see people enjoy movement, progress themselves, and just be the best version of themselves they can be. I sound so cliche at the moment, but the calisthenics community is just so amazing, and it genuinely started to bring me out of my shell. It made me feel confident. It started to make me feel like I could do things that I never thought were possible. As a result, my passion for movement and calisthenics grew so much. I started running more often, I started appreciating what my body can do more, I started pushing myself further, and I just wanted to spend every spare second I had in my little room in my house or finding a calisthenics park to just have fun, even though I really wasn't that good. So it was at this point that I was just so in love with movement that I ended up changing my career and becoming a personal trainer. So I did my qualification and I got a job in a gym and I started training clients. Not gonna lie, at first I struggled quite a lot because I was working with other personal trainers, and a lot of the time they're very cookie cutter in their approach. It's A plus B equals C, or you have to follow this specific program, or it's all about this preconceived idea of what fitness is. And I feel like my beliefs and my ethos around that are a little bit different. You know, I really think about an addition to your lifestyle and how it looks within your whole lifespan. So it's about general health, it's about being functional, it's about having fun with your training. And you don't have to be too strict. You can be if you want, it's up to you. But really it looks totally different for everybody. Whereas I wasn't seeing that in other personal trainers. It really made me take a step back and question if everything that I believed and was doing about health and fitness was wrong. And I even started to change my own training to more of a traditional style of training. And I found that after a few months of doing that, I really started to lose that spark and that happiness that movement gave me. And I was really having to force myself to go and do exercise, which was just something I wasn't used to at that point. When I realized that I was starting to lose that spark and that excitement, I realized that I was right all along, for myself at least, that I needed to go and do things that really fulfilled me and it lit me up from inside. And so I started to try to include those things again. I started to do calisthenics and reach out to people who were doing it near where I lived. And I started going hiking again, going rock climbing, and just trying anything and everything. And I started to become so much more fulfilled, and I just felt happier. The problems that I had in my life, they're not going to go away. We're always going to have problems, but I felt so much more at ease with my life. I felt so much more authentically me. I know that sounds really cheesy, but I really, really did feel so much more myself. And I have fire in my belly, and I really look forward to the future, and I look forward to being able to move my body. I wake up and I'm excited every day to get up out of bed and go for a walk or do whatever I feel like. It doesn't have to be fixed because I'm not in some set routine that I have to follow. Along with this, it started to address all these issues that had come up originally, like the confidence and the community aspect. That pursuit of happiness was so much closer than it ever had been before, and I realized that it's okay to do you. Like, it's absolutely fine to do what makes you happy, because at the end of the day, life is just far too short. And it's interesting because that was really highlighted to me, or kind of thrown in my face, over the last year and a half. So around just over a year ago, I injured my back, as you guys know. So I have a herniated L5-S1 disc, and I had really, really bad sciatica and chronic pain for the best part of about 8 months. And for a good 6 or 7 months, I couldn't do any exercise. I could barely walk for a lot of that time. And so all the things that I loved to do were taken away from me. And I realized I started to lose my sparkle. Again, I started to focus on all the things that health shouldn't be, and I wanted to control in any way that I could have it. And there was very little ways in which I could have control at that point. Being injured prevented me from doing what I love and moving my body in a way that felt good. And I started to notice the same old pattern repeat, where I would start to focus on all the things that health shouldn't be and look for some form of control. That injury not only highlighted to me all the things that I already believed about health and fitness, but it also made me appreciate how much movement brought to my life. And I never ever will take for granted being able to do some simple tasks like putting my socks on without pain, being able to take the bins out, or to get in and out of a car easily, or even to be able to go and exercise. I feel so lucky, and that is what drives me to constantly move. A question I often get asked is, how do you stay motivated to exercise? And one huge aspect of that is just to think how lucky you are to be able to wake up and go for a walk. How lucky you are to be able to bend down and cuddle your cat or your dog or your child, whatever it might be, because as soon as that's taken away from you, it's those tiny little things that you start to realize are really, really important. I remember saying to myself last year when I was crying in pain on the living room floor at 4 in the morning that you will never not appreciate any sort of movement in the future, and I still remind myself of that every single day. That in itself is the biggest motivator that I have. I genuinely feel emotional talking about it because it's affected me so much. And this is what I just want people to know, is it's okay to just enjoy yourself. It's okay to not get hung up on numbers and progress. It's okay to fail at things. It's okay to just do things that are crazy and stupid and have fun, because that is the stuff that matters in life. Not berating yourself because you're not making progress, or because you're not as fit as somebody else, or because you feel like you're failing at something, just doesn't matter. I know I reference this quite a lot, but it's one of my favorite songs, and if you haven't heard it, I would definitely recommend going and listening to it. But it's called Everyone's Free by Baz Luhrmann, and in it he says, enjoy your body, use it everywhere you can, don't be afraid of it or what other people think of it. It is the best instrument you ever own. And there is nothing that sums up how I feel about movement and my body and health and fitness in general more than that statement. It is so easy to get caught up in the aesthetics, the numbers, the comparison, and all the negative side of health and fitness, especially nowadays with social media and the overabundance of information. But at the end of the day, life is far too short to be worrying about all those things constantly. If you have a goal, amazing, try to achieve that goal, but have fun along the way. My biggest passion and my number one goal in terms of making this content and these videos is to ignite the fire in one person, but also to make sure no one feels the way that I used to feel and gets caught up in the negative aspect of health and fitness. I want you to be able to enjoy moving your body. I want you to be able to try new things, whatever that might be. It doesn't have to be calisthenics. It could be, I want to get into running. I want to get into roller skating. That's my new hobby, by the way. I'll show you my skates in a second. I want you to be able to switch on a beginner's workout and it actually be a beginner's workout. I don't want you to have one that says you have to do push-ups on your toes and pull-ups as a beginner, because that's not a beginner. I know, because I was a beginner. And I suppose that kind of brings us to the present day, and therefore looking into the future as what my goals are with my training and my motivations for moving. And it's been quite interesting because just over the last few months I've had a bit of a rocky road. Josh has been unwell in hospital, as you know, he's been in and out of hospital, and I probably took on a little bit too much work, and I got to a point where my life-work balance was totally out, and I started neglecting all the things that I'm talking about that fulfill me and make me feel really happy and also make me passionate about what I do. And so I took a long, hard think about what I want to look for in the future, where I want to go, and I really started to try to get back to the authentic old me. That meant trying new things and giving it a go and being able to go and experience random experiences and having fun moving my body. So in the last couple of weeks, I've been trying to do as much as I can. I've been reaching out to friends of mine that do loads of different types of sports. I've been swimming, I've been running, I went roller skating like I said, I've been out on my skateboard, I'm back bouldering, I've planned some amazing hikes for 2022. I'm even considering doing one huge challenge, but I'm gonna keep that one under wraps for now. And I'm just looking forward to being able to challenge myself and see where I can take myself. At the moment, I'm filming a week of training, so that will be up shortly, but I also have a previous one that I filmed if you wanna go and check it out. And it really shows and highlights the variety in my training, which helps to keep me motivated and help keep that passion alive for me. But also, I want to challenge myself. There's things I want to achieve next year, and one huge thing is just, I want to feel like I've lived my life. I want to feel like I've experienced pushing myself and really cool things through movement, if that makes sense. I sound a little bit crazy, I think. But hopefully you'll see that over the next year. Hopefully you'll be able to come along on that journey with me. And I hope in doing so, it inspires you to be able to push yourself to do things a little bit outside of the box, a little bit outside of your comfort zone, but things that are going to light you up inside, put fire in your belly, make you feel like you're actually living your life, having fun, experiencing new things, and proud of yourself, because that at the end of the day is all that matters. So I don't know if that's what you expected from this video, but I hope you have gotten something from it in some way, even if that's as simple as an idea for training or a little bit of spark of motivation to try something new. If you have any questions, of course, you can leave them down below, or if you have any thoughts on this, I would love to hear them. So sound out down below in the comment section. Otherwise, I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you very, very soon. Oh my gosh, look how pretty they are. So these are my new skates. Just wait till you see me in a full body cast when I fall over and break a pelvis or something like that, but hopefully I can do some tricks in it to show you one day. But yeah, these are them. One last thing, if you don't follow this person, you've got to go and check him out. So Nims, he's got a documentary on Netflix at the moment called 14 Peaks, and it is amazing, and it has literally inspired me so much. It kind of gives you a bit of a clue as to what one of my goals are next year. But definitely go and check him out, because if you want some inspiring person to look at, this person will put some fire in your belly. So yeah, go and check him out. All right guys, bye.